Miserable experience actually, and just I bloated so much on that I had to literally stop just after a month. 'Cause I was literally, was just bloating uncontrollably. Well, what was happening? I didn't know why. I just thought it was just a war going on, and I had to get all this bad stuff out. But your body reabsorbs bile through your bile tract, and so what happens is a lot of toxins can get reabsorbed, and they call it retox. So all this stuff that has been in the fat cells that you haven't had in your body, now you're bringing that stuff back into your body, and your body's going, oh my gosh, and it makes you actually sick. That's called retox. And so this was happening. This happens to a lot of people on that. That's the reason why. It's because it doesn't quite get it out of your body completely. You get some out, don't get me wrong, you do get stuff out, but you reabsorb a lot too. So you want to make sure that there's something of charcoal or activated carbon in your detox that's going to get the stuff out of your body so it doesn't reabsorb. And so when you're doing that, that's why I like the daily, because just they made it actually stronger now. They've kind of made it, they've increased the strength of it, just this last shipment that we have in our office. It's still, if you're drinking a lot of water, it's really not that bad. It's not one of those things you got to kind of make sure you know where all the restrooms are. It's not like that. As a matter of fact, you don't really feel like you're on a detox. That's why I like it. I've done so many that are just, I never would even tell people to do them because they're that I hated them. So it's more of a natural cleanse. But you want to make sure that you are stopping the sources first and then start doing that detox. Don't just start going and telling me I want to do a detox. And especially if you just started in my office, we're not doing that right now. We got to get your body, we got to get some pressure off your nerves first and let your body start working better. We will get to that though. Again, that's why we do a nutritional recommendation right at 2 months now when you start, because that gives your body enough time to get used to getting nerve pressure off or getting that pressure off your nerves. Then we can add in some simple nutrition, and we've seen just in the last 6 months that has done such a better effect on people. And I'm not overloading you either as a doctor, because I was so, starting practice, I made a lot of people just not like me very much, because I was like, okay, do this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and then basically I never see them again because there's like way too much stuff. So we're going to do things in an order with you, and this helps you also. This helps you understand each step of the way, and you get a better result. And that's kind of what it's all about, so that's huge. Lastly, I want to make sure that, especially if you guys are new to the office, we are having our next makeover event. It's going to be January 15th. I'm just going to put that out there. It's going to be at the Norris Conference Center just like last time. So if you weren't able to go to that last one, January 15th, it's going to be awesome. We're going to be going over everything again. Basically, we're going to be hitting the 5 essentials, about a 2.5 hour event. And I'm excited for you guys. So that's coming up. So I want to let everybody know it's January 15th at 10:30 a.m. So it's a Saturday morning. Okay, so we'll still adjust that Saturday, but right after we're adjusting, we're heading there to set up, and we're going to rock that out. So we're excited about that this year. Questions about what we're talking about? Yes, ma'am, Mr. Burke.
I've heard that that being out in the sun, you need to actually be in the sun without not behind glass. Is that correct?
Yeah, you want to have the infrared rays hit you. That's what you want. Yeah, infrared rays are actually really good for you. There's so many, like they have now. There's so much research done on infrared, like infrared heat, infrared saunas. What it does, it actually stimulates so many benefits in your body. Not ultraviolet. Like there's a couple lights. You have visible light. You have ultraviolet rays, which are the rays that can be pretty bad for you, and then you have infrared rays, which are actually healing. There's a lot of there's so much new research now into infrared like therapies, basically, because of the benefits of what it does. So you want that. So that's like if you're out in the sun and you go under a shade in a tree or something, and you instantly feel that coolness, and then you walk out and you instantly feel that warmth. That's the infrared. That's the infrared rays hitting you. So that's what you want to be at, which is good. Yeah. So that's going to do a lot for you. But again, moderation. Don't go out there for 5 hours and just because you're going to burn. But if you're out there and you're getting your 10 to 15 minutes a day, you're going to do a lot. But right now, even with that, just the sun's not really it's a little very gloomy for the next few months. Definitely want to supplement with that, and then still try to go outside. Definitely don't stop that, but it's going to get hard here, especially when it's 30 degrees to want to stay outside. So yeah.
Dr. Whitaker, years ago I heard him, and he said that if you had like 10% of an organ that was still healthy, that if you spent 30 minutes a day in the sun, that would regenerate.
Really?
Uh-huh. That, but it has to be in the sun, and especially no sunglasses and no glasses.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a lot of truth to that. Do you have that research? I would love to see it if you happen to have it. But basically, I mean, just think about that. I mean, you take a plant out of the sun, what happens? It dies. You take us out of the sun, what happens? We die. I mean, we rely on the sun. I mean, that's what God put there to help us. So, yeah, you need the sun. It's a good thing. It's not bad. It's funny how mainstream society, the sun is not bad. You take a plant out of the sun, it's going to die. That should tell you right then, is it good for you or not? I mean, that's why I love the stuff I hear. Yeah, love the stuff I hear. Any other questions on maybe some tips or anything about the holidays? Yes, ma'am.
On the surge,
Yes.
for those people that haven't worked out in a while,
You're gonna feel it.
can you? I mean, is the beginning that's still where you would start?
I would start with yes. I would start at the beginner. Oh, absolutely. Even you know what? Even if you work out, I would still start at beginner because it's a completely different type of stress load that you're doing to your body. But you're gonna love it. You will love what you'll notice. What I notice is how winded I am, but in a good way. Like I'm winded, and I just feel so much better after I do a surge versus if I go run, because I still like to run, once a week, do a long run. But when I'm done running, I mean, I'm beat up after I run. But if I do a surge, I feel great after it. Well, it's more the growth hormone, and growth hormone also helps joints and muscles and ligament repair. So that's why you just feel so much better when you do it. So you're going to be stiff, you're going to be sore the first probably several times you do it. Just make sure you're icing, you're drinking a lot of water, and keep sticking with it. You don't have to do it every day. Do it every other day. I would recommend. Give your body a little chance to rest, but you will grow into really loving surging. And what's really cool about it is it's the time frame. I mean, it's 15 minutes with your rest a day. That's it. I mean, so we all have 15 minutes. I don't care how busy you are. You got 15 minutes to do some surging. I know it. So, and if you don't have ideas, Google this. If you go to YouTube and type in "maximize living /surge workout," you'll see a lot of different examples of how to do different types of surging pop up. So you need to make sure you're doing it properly. You have somebody explaining how to do it. But then again, get to Dr. Ashley on Saturdays, and she'll show you how to do everything too. She'll work you good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
If a beginner is doing the surges, you do it 3 times a day, how would you work around the eating? You eat like an hour before you do surge, or?
You definitely want to eat something before, even if it's a snack, because I'll tell you this, if your blood sugar is low and you're doing a surge, you might get a little lightheaded, you might get a little maybe even a little nausea. It's kind of like getting an adjustment. I always, when somebody's a little lightheaded, I always know, and I ask, but I know before I ask, did you happen to eat today? Usually the answer is no, or usually did you skip a meal? Yes, it's been a long time, blood sugar gets low, you'll notice that. But so have a little snack, have a little something before you eat, obviously. Maybe not 10 minutes right before you do a surge. I'd say at least 30 minutes. Have something before, and you'll notice that it's a lot easier to do. Yeah, because you're burning that up. As soon as you start surging, you're going to burn up what you snacked on pretty quick.
Keep in mind though,
Yeah.
you have to keep in mind though, if you exercise too close to eating, it shunts the blood flow to the muscles in the stomach.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Just do a
if you really do need to put a little bit of time in between
Yeah.
it. I know Dr. Julian Whitaker right now has a diabesity challenge, he calls it, and he recommends that if you are Well, if you want to just try to avoid an extra meal, the first thing in the morning, if you go without food and then do your exercise first thing in the morning, you're actually accelerating weight loss to do that. And he recommends you only do that in the morning, not at the end of the day, not in the middle of the day. But they also know that, for instance, people that are on dialysis, it shuts the blood away from the stomach. So I know in the facility where I work, they don't let you eat when you're having dialysis.
Right.
So exercise is going to shut your blood away from the, so if you're going to eat and then exercise, your stomach's probably going to hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why you want to do just 5 minutes forward. Give yourself a little bit of time. But yeah, because well, obviously that's going to shut down because you're getting blood flow, to your heart and to your extremities and where you need it for that demand. So, but I always like to at least have a little bit of something in my stomach before I do work out, but have some time in between, just because I think well, there's a lot of studies that also show how catabolic it is if you are on a completely empty stomach and you're working out. It can be catabolic to you as well, so it can do some harm that way.
It's the old theory of don't eat and swim.
Yeah. I mean, there is truth to that, absolutely, and it does shut it off when you're working out. That's why. Same thing with you having to go to the bathroom. It'll shut that off because that's parasympathetic. Your nerves. That's your rest and digest. It shuts out. You ever notice if you're running, you really don't have to go to the bathroom at that point because you're shutting those pathways off. It's more your sympathetic nerves, which is your your fight or flight. Basically, what you're stimulating when you're working out is movement, and so those are your sympathetics. But yeah, so just just kind of gauge yourself a little bit, but put a little bit of space before as well. And what I like to do is have some protein definitely after you do a workout. And I like to do that literally within about 30 to 45 minutes after. Start putting some protein in because that's going to help repair a lot of the damaged muscle that you broke down. Just even it naturally, it helps kind of repair muscle damage, which is always good too. So
Thank you.
yeah. Any other questions? I think Ms. Katie, you had a question.
I can't picture this in my mind because I understand that everybody has to exercise, and even if you've got a lot of medical problems and you're real heavy and stuff like that, you need to move. My dad says even if you're sitting there in a chair acting like you're directing music or something, you've got to do, something, and I understand that. But if you're real heavy and you're having this low back pain and you can hardly walk or stand, how can you get up there and do something intense like that? I don't understand it.
You can do, well, that's actually a great question. There's so many different things you can surge that you don't have to, you can do things just with your arms and your surging. You can do things, what I would really like, if you have access to just like a pool or something, you can surge in a pool and get a really good workout because you're working your whole body, and it's a lot easier on joints and stuff if you are just first getting into working out. There's so many ways you can do that, and even that's why I always say there's a lot of modified ways to start doing surges to kind of help out. A lot of stuff, instead of doing a push-up on the ground, you can get just against the wall and do push-ups for starting off. And so you're just getting into it, and then as you get stronger, well, then you can get down and do push-ups, but have it to where you're modified, just you're on your knees. A lot of people can't do that, but you kind of work your way up. So you can start off just a push up against the wall. You're still doing a surge, which is really cool. So there's a lot of modified ways to do different things. But I think what would be really good, just if you never have done it, and if you have access just to a pool or even a hot tub, different things you can surge just in there. And again, it's water resistant, so it's very easy on you. But just as long as we're moving in the right direction, I mean, yeah, that's great. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do. You don't have to. When I say surge, it's not all you can, but it's not all just running in place and we're jumping up as high as we can. I mean, yeah, there's some cool things you can do with that, but that's not the extent of surging. There's a lot of different things you can do that does just as good. It's just a variety. So I always encourage Google. You can see a lot of different examples, and then we'll talk some more on what you like, what you don't like. Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sounds
absolutely. Yes.
I want to know what to eat for breakfast. I know you don't want to eat carbs at dinner.